This is Professor Chad Coe, and I'm with David Kim of the Minnesota Twins. He's a scout for the organization, and we're going to be interviewing him today and asking some questions about what he does and his thoughts about the business of baseball. David, first of all, thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. It's always a privilege to talk to sports guys and get their knowledge about what's going on in business, and to just allow your information to be passed on to my students.
Sure.
And I really thank you for that.
Not a problem.
First of all, Dave, I'll just ask a quick question. How long have you been a scout?
Let's see. I started in 2000 officially, so this would be my 10th year.
Wow.
10th year. And
Wow.
I was a part-time scout 2 years before that, so all up about 12 years.
And have you been with the Minnesota Twins the whole time?
Yes. Just the one club, fortunately. Hopefully end my career there, but we'll never know. We'll see.
Okay. Now, are you from Korea?
No,
You traveled.
actually, born in Australia.
Really?
Born and raised in Australia. The first time I came to Korea was '92.
Okay.
And that was to play pro baseball here.
Now you went to school in Australia.
I went to school, yeah.
University?
The whole 9 yards in Australia.
Okay. And your family is over here still?
No, they live in Australia.
Okay.
I'm the only one out here.
Oh, nice.
Kind of like the ugly duckling.
Okay. You have other family out here as well, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
fantastic. Well, that's great. How did you get into the business of scouting initially? What drove you from, say, university to go scouting? I mean, how did you make the connection to get into the business?
It was kind of a natural transition. I came over as a professional baseball player, so just playing professional baseball.
Really?
Yeah.
Who'd you play for?
Played with the LG Twins and Doosan Bears.
Okay.
And I ended my career with them, and a good friend, our supervisor, Howard Morser, gave me a call and around about probably at the end of '99.
Okay.
And said, listen, the Twins are thinking about investing in Asia
Okay.
and opening up market there, and,
Okay.
and asked me if I'd like to start on as a full-time scout.
That's incredible. What position did you play?
I was in middle infield.
Middle?
Middle
Okay.
infield, played shortstop, second base.
Okay. Same as me.
Oh, okay.
I was a shortstop.
Okay, good.
I was the backbone of the defense.
That's why we got similar type of postures here.
had the arm, so my hitting went downhill. I broke my hand.
That's why I'm a scout.
The second year, yeah. Broke my hand the second year playing university baseball and
Okay.
stuff in Oregon. Well, let's get to the important question there, and that would be how is South Korea baseball set up compared to Japan or the U.S. in regards to scouting? What's the overview of how everything works? For example, when can you scout? And who can you scout, really,
Sure.
is what I'm asking. Just a real overview.
Well, as a Major League Baseball scout, we have to abide by the MLB rules.
Okay.
So basically, the kid has to be 16 years old
Okay.
and turn 17 in the following playing season.
Okay.
So those are the basic guidelines that we follow. Now, the local rules are all different. We try not to mess with kids in their first or second years of high school, because they're still basically in school.
Right.
So we wait for them to graduate. So they're going to be about 17 or 18, in some cases 19. And then once they graduate, we're going to go up and see if we can sign them to a contract.
Now, if they don't sign and they do decide to stay in Korea, can you scout them after that, or?
Once they sign a professional contract in Korea, the local club owns them for 9 years.
Oh, wow.
So we
Wow.
can't really touch them for 9 years. Now,
Okay.
obviously the pro rules are different. They're allowed to go abroad after 7 years,
Okay.
and they become a full free agent after 9 years. So what that means is basically 7 years has passed, they can ask their club to let them go, and then the posting system comes in, which is basically like a blind bid on a player.
Okay.
Once the 9 years is over, then they're totally on their own.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I'd heard it was the 7, but officially 9. That's very
Officially
interesting.
9, yeah.
So what about, for example, the Korean scouting? Are they able to scout earlier than you guys, or
No.
do they have the same rules? Can they scout at, say, 15 or 14 even?
We actually start our scouting process as early as possible.
Okay.
What
Well,
I'm-
let me back up then. Can they approach, I guess is what I'm asking.
technically, no.
Okay.
They can only kind of sit, on the other side of the fence and watch the player play.
Right. Anybody can, yeah.
Sure.
Anybody can do that.
But yeah, we just keep a data on a player to see if he's going up or down
Okay.
throughout his career. And once he's eligible for the draft, which is after high school, that's where the local pro teams draft him.
Wow. That's some good stuff. Let's go now to a typical season. You've been doing this for 10 plus years now, plus all the baseball. When did you start playing baseball?
I started late. I started when I was about 13 and a half, close to 14,
Wow.
so I started late.
In Australia.
In Australia.
How's their system?
Basically, it was a club system.
What city? What city?
I was in Melbourne,
Okay.
Victoria.
Sure,
so
sure.
it was just a club type system where, there's no formal high school baseball.
Right.
So as you know, in Australia, it's basically rugby and cricket.
Cricket.
So there's
A
baseball.
little bit of soccer now.
A little bit of soccer
Heidick
now.
coming along.
Yeah,
Heidick.
but basically, yes, baseball was kind of
on the side.
on the side was just.
A friend of mine
football.
actually played in Perth.
Oh, yeah.
He blew his knee out in the States. He was playing AA or AAA, and he blew his knee out. And they offered to fly him over to Perth to
Beautiful
maybe
city.
try to start. They were investing in Australia and trying to develop talent there. So
Okay.
I'm a little bit aware of it myself. So well, let's go through a typical season. When do you start scouting? When are you regulated? When can you start scouting?
Technically, it's actually a 365-day job.
Okay.
There's no off season. People kind of think, oh, once the season starts, that's when we start. Well, actually, no. We start preparing usually as soon as the clock ticks over the new year. We start getting out our letters to schools, asking for the schedules,
Okay.
asking for information on players.
Wow.
That's the first step. And then once the season starts, usually in February, where they have their spring training, we're out there watching that. And I think the biggest thing with Korea and the States is, in the States they have a league where you'll have a set number of games over the year.
Sure.
Where here it's all tournament play. So we'll have
Oh, okay.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tournaments a year.
Okay.
So it's good and bad. They all come to you as a scout. But as a player, it's kind of bad. If you lose that first game in that first round, you're done.
That's a single elimination.
Single elimination. So you
that's
won't
too bad.
play until the next tournament.
You could play 8 games.
Exactly. If you're a bad team,
Oh, man.
if you're a good player on a bad team, you might play 8 or 9 games a year.
How do you scout someone like that? You think that's a hard one. That's kind of. I'm from Oregon in the Northwest, and I know the scouts there would scout us on potential because we played fewer games.
Right.
And a lot of pitchers came out of the Northwest because we threw less.
Yes.
Our arms were
fresh.
stronger.
Yeah.
But the infielders and the hitters really had to prove themselves.
Yeah.
Had to have astronomical statistics and great batting averages and no errors in the field, so to
Right,
speak.
right.
And it was hard.
It's the same thing out here.
Yeah.
Same thing out here is the same as the States. The less times you see a player,
Sure.
the less conviction you have on a player.
Right.
So it's the same. You just gotta kind of live at the school basically. See him practice. They'll have practice games, all the time. So you'll pick up games that way.
Okay.
But basically, yeah, you've got to pick and choose your battles. And if it's a guy you like, you basically just gotta stay on him.
Where do you go in Korea to scout? Where are the tournament locations?
A lot of them are in Seoul,
Okay.
but all the major cities have tournaments. So I've anywhere from down in Busan all the way up to Sokcho in north of Korea.
Okay.
So pretty much everywhere.
Does Jeju have one?
Jeju actually has a school.
Oh.
Yeah, they have a couple colleges and a high school.
Okay.
So that's a fun trip.
I lived down there for a year. so.
Okay.
What about Cheonan? We're here in Cheonan, across the lake,
Yeah.
and we have a high school right across the lake that I know has a baseball field, and a pretty good one actually.
In fact, one of the better programs in the Korean system. I think they won 2 tournaments this year.
Okay.
They have a good program there, great field, great coaches, good players.
Okay.
And actually this year, the Chicago Cubs have signed one of their players this year.
All right.
And there's a history of players signing from that club.
Impressive. How long of a day are we talking about now? I'm meeting you as you're coming from a tournament, going back up to Seoul, and probably from there going back down to Daejeon. And what kind of days, like during the busy time, which you said you scout all the time, but I know there's got to be a busier season than others when these tournaments are going on. So when the tournaments are going on, what kind of day are we talking about?
We're talking about 4 games a day.
Okay.
4 games a day. This average 2.5 hours per day, so that's 8 hours just watching baseball.
Okay.
So once that's done, you get back to the hotel or home, and then you've got to input all that stuff into the computer.
All right.
So yeah, it's a long day.
Little boring, little splinters in the old backside, maybe.
Yeah, as you get older, you kind of need to cushion up your seat a couple inches higher. But
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, I remember the days. I remember the days of sitting. And the summers and the days of summer. Unfortunately, I was lucky enough I didn't sit, so I was always a player. So, but
everyone's dream.
everyone's dream. Yeah, I have no regrets. I'm so glad I played. I played in 3 games, and then I broke my hand, but I always have those 3 games, and I did well in those 3 games. So that was great. I have one last question for you, and it's
Sure.
a personal question. I
Okay.
told you I wasn't going to say it
All right.
until the very end. Where would you like to be in 3 years? Still scouting, or
I would love to still be scouting.
really?
Yeah. For me, it's what I know.
Okay.
It's what I know. I mean, there are a lot of people who go to college and have a major that they follow, whether it be medicine, whether it be economics. They study that for a reason, obviously, to get a job in that industry. Well, for us, yeah, we went to college, but our main job, and me being an ex-professional baseball player, that's my major.
Right.
So for me to stay in the baseball industry would be fulfilling what I learned
Sure.
earlier on. So
Would you
um,
still want to be in Korea?
I love Korea.
Okay.
Korea is a hotbed for scouting. It's got one of the best players in the world.
Are we seeing players coming from China or the Philippines coming into the Korean system now?
No.
Do you think that'll happen?
Not real soon. Unfortunately, the local pro teams are only allowed 2 foreigners per team. So usually they'll get those guys from the States.
Even if they went through school all the way through and they're not
Yes.
it has nothing to do with playtime.
Right.
Okay. Well, David, thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Don, excuse me, so thanks you very much
Thank
as
you.
well.
Appreciate
Take care.
it. Thank you.